Amidst tension between North Korea and America over nuclear armament, the current North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met with South Korean President Moon Jae-in in the demilitarized zone in Korea to discuss the complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula only a few months ago. This positive news has encouraged world leaders and foreign ministers across the globe and given hope to hundreds of Korean families awaiting the unification of Korea. These talks also mark a potential end to the 1951 Korean War, which remains unresolved to this day. In this section, we will be looking at 3 different text types, each covering a different aspect of the North Korean crisis. We will be looking at the important grammatical features in each text and how these features provide meaning, as well as the benefits of using such texts in the ESL classroom. A news article has the following defining features: an objective, impersonal voice, salience, where the most important information is presented first, quotations and images, and press releases. The article, entitled North and South Korea Vow No More War, Agree to Complete Denuclearization of Peninsula, was first published on the 28th of April 2018 and covers the meeting between the 2 Korean leaders that took place at that time. In this text, 3 important grammatical features are evident: multimodality, intertextuality, and textual analysis. Multimodality occurs in most news articles, whether they are printed or viewed online. With online news articles, such as this one, individuals can view a video about the meeting, adding oral and spatial features. The news article also involves visual and gestural features with the images of the 2 leaders meeting, shaking hands, and smiling. The framing, lighting, and body language all indicate hope, unity, and peace. The news article uses identifiable text such as quotes, images, and layout to create a hybrid and intertextual text. Intertextuality assists us in recognizing this text as a news article, providing understanding of the type of language and content we, as readers, are to expect. The first few paragraphs of this article emphasize the text theme through the repetition of the word peace, and includes information about important people and places. We can already answer the questions about context and content of the article. The context: after over a century, the 2 sides of Korea are meeting for a summit. And the content: the topic, denuclearization, and the characters, North Korean leader and South Korean president. Analyzing the text of this news article provides us with background and signifies the importance of the event taking place. It also shows us the underlying attitudes of Australia, if not the global community, a longing for peace. Using a news article as a text type in ESL will encourage students to connect with world events and develop intercultural discussions as students become engaged in global issues. Looking specifically at multimodality, intertextuality, and textual analysis will assist students in recognizing and creating their own news article texts and understanding how language changes according to context, content, and conduct, providing deeper understanding of the text. Editorials are characterized by a personal and subjective voice. This editorial, entitled A Chance for Peace on the Korean Peninsula, questions the simplicity of complete denuclearization in light of the historical geopolitical conditions. The 3 main grammatical features at work in this piece are discourse, the semantic unit, and text. The editorial constantly uses language designed for specific purposes of an editorial, with a conversational tone being evoked through the question, "Can it really be this easy?" and the personal pronoun we. The writer invites us into a discussion on the possibility of peace and positions us to respond with cautious hope. Discourse also enables us to identify where the writer has specifically used language to construct situated meaning. For example, the use of Thor in the second paragraph relies on contextual and discursive knowledge. Thor is being used metaphorically to indicate the gradual change in the relationship between the two Korean leaders. From a semantic point of view, editorials use specific sentence frameworks which are distinct from news articles, stories, and other text forms. We have the same semantic features in each, but in editorials they are employed to create a personal tonality. The editorial begins with an utterance, steeped in historical and social value, shown through the words hostilities, conflict, and officially resolved, the morpheme ongoing, and the direct reference to the Korean War. The next paragraph employs a long clause, complete with the subject, North Korean dictator, predicate, stepped on South Korean soil, and verb, had done. The length of the clause is reminiscent of conversation, foregrounding the personal tone. Later in the editorial, the writer uses the conjunction but in a non-prescriptive pattern to continue the creation of a conversational tone, before emphasizing the importance of this event with the morpheme extraordinary to foreground how wonderful this moment is. Even if we are to be cautious about hope, the author indicates we should remain optimistic. This editorial remains an anonymous text. We are not provided with the author's name or credentials, which is distinct from most other textually based works. It is also an example of a text from a different cultural group, being published by and written for a Canadian audience. Despite these cultural differences, it is still recognizable as an editorial due to the textual features, the words, phrases, and utterances. Being aware of the text as an artifact of culture and society assists us as teachers and learners to understand how text conveys meaning to a group of people. Analyzing the surrounding discourse and the way in which the semantic unit and text is used within composition provides insight into the writer's personal opinion and how language conventions vary within context and purpose. Using an editorial also provides an interesting contrast to news articles, for while both report on social events, they are characterized by distinct linguistic features. An ESL classroom lesson could involve spotting the differences in discourse, semantic unit, and text between a news article and editorial, or presenting students with a social event and asking them to write either a news article or an editorial, and discussing the challenges and benefits of each channel. The short story is a text type that involves a series of events arranged in order, including a crisis, a cast of characters, and a place where the story is set. The text selected for this presentation is a story written by Bandai, a North Korean writer. It is a translated work written between 1989 and 1995, but only recently translated into English in 2017 by Deborah Smith. We will be focusing on The City of Spectres, written in 1993. It is the second story in Bandai's collection and explores the life of Jeong-hee, a working mother with a young child. She and her husband live in Pyongyang. Her child is often sick, and the story revolves around her caring for him. The two main grammatical features in The City of Spectres are genre and context. The City of Spectres demonstrates the following aspects of the literary genre of a short story. General features such as a title, introduction, and scene, a setting evoking a sense of time and place, and perspective, the use of second-person perspective to create a personalized text and speak directly to the reader. In addition, the City of Spectres using the following attributes to create meaning. Structural features, using a dream sequence to convey emotion, meaning, and unease, and the use of dialogue to create character and tonality. Social relations. The relationship between Jeong-hee and her husband are conveyed through their dialogue, a combination of closeness, tension, and anxiety, and the relationship between individual and society is conveyed through Jeong-hee's dream and through her reflection near the end of the story. Fear, something which had to be instilled in you from birth if you were to survive in this country. Context is also essential to understanding meaning and depth in the City of Spectres. The social activity of National Day is a constant reminder of the pressure of collective life, a feature of proletarian dictatorship, and there are multiple references to societal, political, and ideological and historical context. For example, the references to the characters stream and ate come from the Old Korean language, which used a version of Chinese characters called hanja. The use of Korean children's stories, both the Yobi and the Rabbits with Three Burrows, and the discussion of Marx's most important theory of thought. Short stories enable students to connect with global, cultural, and historical events as they evoke a range of times, locations, and voices. Short stories are a form of text that is easy to introduce in the ESL classroom as they are less demanding than novels and can be studied in small sections. Even examining a few sentences from a range of short stories from different cultures and countries will encourage students to have intercultural discussions and develop their understanding of the variety within English.